This is Sincerely American.
And the revival starts now.
I can't believe we're finally doing this.
I know, I'm so excited. I can't believe we're actually here. Everything looks so good. You look beautiful. I'm so happy right now. I'm over the moon.
You look stunning, as always. I feel like there's like a lot of podcasts, out there, but I really mean this. Like the podcast that we're doing is really a market that's been untapped because, you have in the conservative movement all these political podcasts where we have a lot of like beautiful, sophisticated women that are speaking on a lot of these issues, and I love their podcasts. But then, we have like the girly podcasts and the girly space where they're giving advice on like dating, relationships, fashion, beauty trends, and all of that, like a Call Her Daddy or like Tinks, for example. And it's all from like this hyper woke feminist perspective. And so like what I want our audience to understand is that we're not looking to like get super political with you. We just want to talk about dating, relationships, marriage, motherhood, your career, fashion trends that are big right now, lifestyle trends, beauty trends, all of like the topics that you guys love without like shoving this like leftist ideology down your throat. Instead, we're going to be fun. We're not going to be like super PC, and we're just going to have a good time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also that's like the beauty of what you've created with the Conservateur. I feel like nobody really in the movement has bridged that gap with having fashion and culture involved in politics. And so there's a lot, obviously, that goes hand in hand with what we're seeing in today's modern culture play and have an effect in politics, so, and vice versa. So I think it's very interesting that we're able to put this all together, and especially in such, in the time that we have. And I don't know, I'm just very grateful to be here.
Yeah, and so for those of you guys that don't know, I'm Jayme. I founded the Conservateur in 2020 because I just saw such a space in the fashion industry and in media for women. I like grew up with magazines next to my bed, and I read all of like these fashion blogs and everything, and there was just no space for like a conservative traditional woman. And so that's why I started the Conservateur. And I'm just so proud of the audience that we've garnered over the last 5 years. Just spectacular women. Whenever I meet them, they're just sophisticated, beautiful women that are looking to live their life to the fullest extent. And so, I wanted to take that to this podcast, and Camryn is my best friend. We met in the White House. Camryn has a million accolades of her own. She's just built this incredible media career. She's stunning. She's beautiful. And you've built like an audience also of like hundreds of thousands of people on Instagram that just love your takes because you're just always authentically yourself. And I feel like that's why we've built this friendship over the last 5 years.
We have. So our friendship started in 2020. We were working in the Trump White House. I remember having a very similar conversation to the one that we're having now with each other. We both got canceled on our college campuses. You went to Berkeley, which is obviously a notorious, very leftist-leaning school, and she was very outspoken on her campus. And same with me. I went to the University of Louisville. It was, COVID 2020, height of the BLM riots, and so we really were able to connect with each other on a deeper level because it's hard. You're not surrounded with people that are like-minded or really understand you, and it can be very isolating at times.
And I kind of feel like all of our audience will understand if you were a girl that is in their 20s right now, you remember when everyone posted that black square in 2020. And we met right after that because both you and I were not giving into that. And by the way, we've been vindicated on a lot of these points. We lost friendships because we didn't post the black square. And I'm sure a lot of girls that are going to be listening to us, they remember that time and the social pressure that they had. Mm-hmm. And I was really proud of us that we never gave into that and we stayed true to ourselves. And so I want to carry that energy into our podcast.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I posted a blue square. And so
that is Camryn core.
I pissed a lot of people off that summer. But yeah, I completely agree. So let's get into it.
So the first topic I wanted to do was addressing this like viral TikTok that was on X, was on Instagram from Call Her Daddy. And, I think every girl our age understands how big of an impact Call Her Daddy has on society right now. And they're kind of the reason why I feel like we're starting this. I don't like to say we're like the opposite of Call Her Daddy and we're doing the same things. We're not. We're our own thing. But I really was inspired by just how bad a lot of her takes are on so many things that I would constantly see these, very popular TikToks that are obviously influencing a lot of young women. And I'm like, Kate, we need better advice for women in the dating field. And I feel like you and we don't know everything. We're not like holier than thou or the perfect people. But I feel like we can give like from our experience, just going through college in our 20s and stuff, like a better take on a lot of these things. Anyway, let's roll the clip.
I feel like every single girl has a list of the guys she's ever been with. Like, how fun. I remember the men that have been inside of me, and I have a husband, and that's okay. This sounds like a really insecure or possessive man. We've all lived, we've all had a good time, and if anything, everyone we've been with prior to has helped us become the person we are today.
Yeah, this video just really upsets me, and it kind of hits me hard just because I'm somebody who used to listen to Alex Cooper religiously in my early 20s. I loved her podcast, sue me. I did, and I hung on to every single word, and now that I'm older and I've had more life experiences under my belt and just kind of a whole change in perception, as you should say, in your mid-20s, and grown as a person, I look at this now and I'm like, how detrimental is this to young females who are very malleable and what their perception is and what their perspective on life is and on dating and everything. And for her to say, one, I want to bring up 2 points. For her to say that the man is insecure because of this and to put all of that pressure on that man is very unfair in my opinion, because you're basically asking him to completely abandon his moral integrity and his standards for dating in order to appease you because you fooled around in the past. You have to actually take accountability as a woman. Mm-hmm. 2, to say that you also remember everybody that you've slept with and that somehow helped you be the person that you are today. I feel like, honestly, though, it's taking something away from you, because women and men also release different hormones when they have sex. And, there's a bonding hormone that women release more. And you're creating soul ties with people that aren't your husbands.
Mm-hmm. This stuck out to me so much because I think anyone who's been through college in the last, 20 years, I don't know, maybe even longer than that. But obviously, when I was at UC Berkeley, I was shocked by this culture. I grew up, kind of in a bubble, to be quite honest. I went to a hardcore Catholic school ran by nuns that was all girls, and I never had a boyfriend or anything. And I'll never forget when I showed up to Cal's campus, and I was just in shock by the casual sex culture immediately. I kind of expected, the crazy leftist politics on my campus, but I didn't expect, the hardcore just sleeping around culture I saw. And I had a lot of friends that were beautiful, intelligent women that had so much going for them. And I could just tell they were regularly heartbroken, in tears on a regular basis over the way that these men were treating them. And it's because of the casual sex culture. And I can't say this enough, but for when we talk about female empowerment, which is what feminists and, liberals talk about all the time, I can't think of anything less empowering than telling women to throw your body at whoever, texts them or Snapchats them that day. I think real empowerment is saving yourself for the right guy who loves you and deserves you at the end of the day. And I think that just leads to, a happier life down the line, because obviously, like we just mentioned, this guy is so insecure, quote unquote, about your past. But you should think about that when you are engaging in a lot of these cultures. Is this reflective well of my family, for one, my parents that raised me? Is this reflective well of, the marriage I hope to be in someday with my husband? And it's not. And so stop letting these men take advantage of us. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I believe that we need to start living with more intention. And I can be quite honest, in my early 20s, I was not living intentionally. I was not really living according to God's purpose for my life. And so we're not coming from a place of judgment. We're actually coming from a place we've been here, and Jayme has seen it firsthand with her friends. It's coming from a place where you don't actually have to bow down and submit to these cultural norms that are so detrimental to your mental health. And also, I just see from this video a lack of accountability. We've completely, as women, in my opinion, have enabled this culture where we're not valuing our bodies. We're not valuing ourselves, quite frankly. And so it's just very upsetting to me, because she's really the how do I even explain Alex Cooper? She's the biggest
she's
podcaster for
number one podcast for women.
Yeah, number one. Okay, so she's number one in all the charts. That's what really, really gets me. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, and You know, I think that there's something bigger at play as well. And, you know, you can say, like, obviously, I'm never looking to control the way that other people live their lives. I really mean that. Like, people are free. This is a free country. They're free to live their lives in any way. But this casual sex culture that's, you know, gone on since, I would say, like, the second feminist revolution, the second wave, has really impacted like our dating culture as well, because I just think you look at nowadays, people are not getting married at the same rate. Everybody's in situationships where they're sleeping together, but there's no label on it. And then you're waiting 7 years before you even get married. Like, look at just how problematic nowadays our dating culture is. And I really think it has to do with this, because it used to be very clear. A man would have to court you and show his worth to a woman in order to like receive, you know, that intimate experience in return and show that they're committed for life. And now it's in chaos all the time. And I think everybody is miserable from it. We can't find a guy that commits. Women are all over the place. You know, you have multiple partners and everything. And this is not just a recipe for success and building a real life together.
Well, it also just goes back to from more of a macro perspective of completely ignoring basic biology. Men have a huntsman mentality when it comes to dating, and just innately have more of like a competitive streak. So they're wanting, I mean, obviously they're probably going to want a woman who's inaccessible, maybe even unapproachable in that way, because they're in competition with other guys. So I feel like for women, it's just completely ignoring that factor about them, that they have a completely different mentality when it comes to that.
And guys that like expect that from you. Like, I remember it affected me in college because like I wasn't engaging in that when I was in college. But I remember I would go out on like what I thought was like a great date with a guy, and then he would like immediately expect that. I'm like, oh, I'm not that type of girl. That's what they expect. So it's like almost like I said, this is like a culture that brings down everybody in it. And I just think like as women, we should shoot to like hold ourselves to higher standards with this. And like I want to say to our audience as well, like even if you've engaged in this in the past does not mean that you're alienated here. It's about like, I think every step of your life is about building a better sense of yourself and holding to yourself to the highest standards possible and becoming the highest value woman you can be. And that comes with making mistakes in the past as well.
Where is Alex Cooper's husband?
I don't know how he puts up with this. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's insane to me.
No, like, I genuinely don't understand it. I think, like, they met on a work Zoom call, so maybe he understands that the narrative, like, maybe they can both profiteer off of the narrative, but I don't know how somebody morally can just sit there, one, and take that. I feel like that's kind of, like, disrespectful to say, and then two, it's just so detrimental to women. It's actually like very black and white. There's no gray area about it. Like you listen to this content and it will like break your heart, especially if you've like experienced more life and you've grown from these experiences like Jayme and I have. And so I just want to know, like, what is his take on this?
I love that because I've always thought that. I'm like, that's another thing we haven't addressed. Her podcast is so vulgar and raunchy, like to the point where like I'm not trying to be a prude, but, like, I can't even listen to this because it's, like, that raunchy and disgusting. And I always think that, too, like, where is her husband and how is he, like, okay with it? Like, I think it just goes against everything. Like, I completely agree. And, like, where is her father in this? Like, it's really shocking, to be quite honest.
And I'm going to get a little vulnerable for a second. Like, I used to think what she said was so funny. And now maybe, like, you would view that, like, I have a stick up my ass. I don't know. But I listen to it now and I'm like, like, it's just trash, like, it's trash, like, and I feel so bad because I remember being that 20-year-old, like, looking up to her because I'm like, she's created, like, this huge brand for herself. She's gotten so many brand deals, so many opportunities and doors open for her off of this terrible narrative that is, like, so hurtful to society, so hurtful to women who are, like, growing up and they're looking up to her, and it's, like, maybe they're even looking for outdoor mentorship outside of, like, their mom or, like, maybe, like, having siblings or their friends, and, like, they're just putting on this podcast, and it's, like, sitting in their subconscious, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Speaking of, like, you know, bad mistakes and things, quite the segue, I wanted to bring us to this other, like, phenomenon that I really wanted to address this in the first episode because I just see it every single day of my life. what is up with people's tattoos in this day and age? Like, Gen Z's tattoos, like, the doodle tattoos all over their arm. Like, can we insert a picture of Ella Emhoff? Like, not to be mean, but, like, I just remember at the DNC, I saw her for, I think, the first time, and I was like, what is going on here? And why are people getting permanent tattoos? And I saw this TikTok the other day, and I love this because my mom was always like, never get a tattoo or I'm cutting you off for life. So I thought this TikTok was funny.
The dumbest bitch and with the biggest heart. I love, love, love that.
That's me. I really can't even lie about it. Like, I am going through this process now that is so painful in the tattoo removal process where they have to, like, either inject numbing or, like, put the topical numbing on. It feels like 1,000 rubber bands are hitting your skin. And that just goes to show you, like, always listen to your parents if they're telling you maybe think this decision through. Because I'm getting all of my tattoos removed because it's just a different season of life that you're in. I mean, you're not going to... Well, I don't want to say you're not going to. Maybe you do. I don't want to speak for you, but for me, I don't resonate with the tattoos that I got at 18, 19 years old as, like, a college girl. And now I'm, like, in my mid-20s, I'm married, I'm in a completely different season of life. I would like to say that I'm, like, probably a completely different person. And I look down at that and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking?
I mean, I can't even commit to an outfit I wore a year ago now, where I, like, look back a year ago and I'm like, that outfit was horrendous. Like, or what was I doing with my hair? Like, I'm sure I'll think that, like, in a year from now. So I just can't imagine. Like, that's why I've never gotten a tattoo. I'm like, there is nothing I could commit to for, like, more than 3 months where, you know, it's like, oh, I've changed my whole personality overnight. Yeah. Like, I just can't imagine, like, honestly, and especially, like, you know, with your tattoos, for example, they're in hidden areas, so, like, no one's seen them, so it's, like, not a big deal, and you can get them removed and no one knows. But, like, these people are just getting, you know, like, at least with you, it was, like, a Bible verse, right? It was, like, something that, like, was important to you in that time of your life. These people are getting, like, a cow sketched onto their arm. Like, how are you going to look when you are 60 years old with a cow on your arm? Like, how is that a good look? Like, it's just horrendous.
I completely agree, and I think it just goes back to this entire culture where we're just not trying. We're, like, lazy, like, wearing and I'm guilty of this, wearing sweatpants to the airport, whether you're in, like, Comfort Plus or first class, you'll see people walking in, like, not, like, dressing their best, not trying to present themselves well. And I remember, like, I don't want to say back in the day, I'm, like, still young, but I would say that my dad and probably your dad and your mom would vouch for this as well, is that, like, employers wouldn't hire you if you couldn't cover that up.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that day where people, like, would... And especially with this video, she's, like, covering up her tattoo. She has a nice gala or something that she's attending, and she's having to cover it up. That should show you that if you have to cover something up, then just don't get it in the first place, because it's just signaling that you don't even want people to see it. So if you don't want people to see it, then don't get it.
There are people with tattoos all down their leg walking around, and I am sorry, no one, I stand by this, no one looks better with a tattoo. Like, you're never going to increase yourself, your beauty, your attractiveness by getting a tattoo. No one. It always is going to be a negative, in my opinion. So
that is where Jayme and I differ, because I love, like, the dainty Hailey Bieber tattoos on her hands. I can see where you're coming from, though, but I do differ where I'm like, okay, I can see that's kind of cute. Like, I don't know, like Paige Lorenz having, like, the P on her arm, or, like, Hailey Bieber's, like, I don't know, little dainty ones. I like those, but at the end of the day, like, I probably wouldn't want to have that if I'm, like, going in for a job interview, or if I'm going to, like, a nice reception or something, and I would want to cover it up. Like, that would be my first initial instinct. So I don't know. I think that you should just wait until your frontal lobe is developed, or even then maybe maybe think twice about it before you get one.
I think the only smart quote Kim Kardashian has ever said is, don't put a bumper sticker on the Bentley. Going into the next topic I wanted to address, and I find this a really interesting trend, but apparently, you know, Camryn, I grew up very Catholic, Camryn grew up non-denominational in Kentucky, so, like, I feel like this is, I saw this when I was at Cal, but, like, in the secular, like, especially if you're living in a city, apparently now going to church is considered controversial. Let's roll the clip.
I never expected having to say this, but going to church is not controversial. Like, what? I posted a video yesterday, literally the most, like, wholesome, innocent video ever. Literally just a video getting ready for frickin' church. Like, and people were commenting being like, wow, your true colors are showing. Oh, because I'm going to church. Like,
you know, this video is really disappointing, but what I'll say actually, like, as a positive is that I feel like after Charlie Kirk's assassination, we've seen people go to church in droves, especially recently. So I do want to hopefully shed light. I'm praying that this is actually like the minority. I obviously saw the comments. The comments were disgusting. But I've also seen so many people go to church for the first time recently. And we also saw where Gen Z men were going to church now more than ever, way more than Gen Z women. But yeah, I think that we've actually seen kind of a shift in culture recently because of that.
Well, I think this is a direct threat to people who are like feminists, left-wing, woke, whatever you want to call these group of people. Because the church has biblical values that are obviously, you know, we talk about coded in this day and age, and they're conservative coded because they align with traditional, you know, it's anti-abortion, it's like anti-gay marriage, it's for, you know, having families, raising children, a traditional way of life. So I think it's very scary right now to leftists to see these young people, particularly Gen Z, going back to church because they're going to end up conservative. If you go into a, you know, a real church that's speaking biblical values and you believe in Jesus Christ and you believe in the Bible, you're going to end up being more conservative. And so I think that this is, you know, this girl in this video, she's just like, oh, I'm trying to improve my life and everything, but people see it as like a pipeline to right-wing extremism now, which is hilarious because it's just like what everybody believed in 2007 is right-wing extremism. But I think it's a direct threat, which is why they're attacking it, and they don't want you going back to church. They don't want you improving your life through that way. Instead, these people would rather you go to therapy where your therapist tells you that you're right about everything and then prescribes you whatever medication or your antidepressant medication, and then you just live life through this like very narcissistic lens that like leftism is promoting instead of, you know, being in church and actually believing and sacrificing for others and living that godly lifestyle.
Yeah, because they're at the center of their life. There's no higher being. And I think it's just so crazy. We live in a society where they're willing to prop up these sex workers, what they call themselves mattress actresses online.
The bops.
The bops. And you'll see their comments, and they're commenting like, oh, we made the right person famous. It's like, are you kidding me? But simultaneously, we're going to trash on a girl who's seeking mentorship that's bigger than herself and seeking, you know, I don't know, just a life path that's rooted in biblical truths and trying to better herself. And we should be applauding that. It may not be what you want to do with your life, but if that's something that it's just a personal decision. Also, aren't you guys supposed to be the party of choice? If she wants to walk into a church, she should be able to walk into a church.
They're not tolerant at all. And I love what you just said because you get more hate comments from like people on TikTok from saying, I'm going to church than you do, I'm starting an OnlyFans. You can't judge anyone that starts an OnlyFans. You can't be like, oh, you know, I don't really like that lifestyle. I don't think that's improving our country. But you can judge someone for going to church and just trying to improve their life through a biblical way. That's everything we need to know about our culture nowadays. Like everything you need to know right there.
Mic drop.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back very soon. We're heading into our segment called I Have No Words because Camryn and I just like text each other that 50 million times a day. Like you'll send me something insane and I just go, I have no words. So today, the segment, I wanted to talk about this because this has been like all over my X feed, all over TikTok. And it's Ayesha Curry talking about how she actually never wanted kids and like Steph doesn't understand her. On Call Her Daddy. Not that we're going to make this all about Call Her Daddy, but she has a lot of clips that just go viral that are just not great, to be honest. Anyway, let's roll the clip.
I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals. And I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's like, it's one of those things like you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
It's so hard also to be the woman in a situation where you're like, men just don't get as much scrutiny. Like they can maybe tell him like your shots suck tonight, but like the looks and all of that is just like not a factor of conversation as much.
No.
Did you talk to Steph about it? Like, or did you kind of keep it within yourself so it didn't?
I do not have a bone in my body that can keep anything to myself. So if it comes to mind, it's coming out. And he's so gracious. Like, he tries to resonate with me, but he just can't. And he also comes from a place of like, it's effing stupid. Like, it's not true. So why? And I'm like, but wait, like, listen to how it makes me feel. And he's like, but why does it make you feel like that? It's not real.
Yeah, I think to me it's just embarrassing that she said publicly on this Girl Boss podcast that like her husband tries to resonate with her, showing that he's actually like trying to be a good husband for her and like trying to emotionally connect with her and fulfill her and give her that emotional stability. Yet she's talking down like on him, saying like he tries, but he can't. And it's just like, I understand where men are like at this place now online, especially like within these like online echo chambers, being like, you can't win with modern women these days. Like, you truly can't.
No, it's just an embarrassment, to be honest. Like, there's women who have like 5 kids. They live in a trailer park in, you know, middle America that are getting by and would have more positive things to say because they love their lives, they go to church, they worship Jesus, and they're truly happy people. And to me, just the main takeaway is that this is not a happy woman who has good influences in her life. And I'm sick of this like negative content. I want things that are fun. I want aspirational. I want to know how she's done it all these last few years. And she has every opportunity at her disposal. So it's just once again another disappointment. And what is up with women going on the Call Her Daddy podcast and just like ranting about like their husbands? Like, it's just like, save that for between you and your husband. Like, I think as a wife, your role is to always paint your husband in the best light, just like I think a husband's role is to always paint their wife in the best light. And I hate saying this because it's so cheesy and it's so like cliche. But imagine if the roles were reversed and Steph Curry went on a male podcast and started complaining about Ayesha and how he had all these dreams, but like kind of, you know, basically saying she doesn't get it and she hasn't supported me. Imagine the outrage from that.
I feel like the feminist movement just has this victim mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, to me, it's just such a victim mentality when you've given like every single opportunity in this country. You've literally married one of the most successful basketball players in modern history. You know, with physically fit, fiscally you're well off, and you're sitting here complaining with Alex Cooper on her couch. Like, to me, that's just like the most, how do I even frame it?
There's kids starving. Like, you don't have real problems, Ayesha. Like, let's get it together. Like, honestly, it's embarrassing.
No, it really is embarrassing. You summed it up perfectly.
There's kids starving. Like, there's literally people with nothing. Ayesha, I don't care about your stupid quarrel that you have with your husband yesterday.
What's Kim, where she's like, I lost my diamond earring? Courtney's like, Kim, there's people that are dying.
That is how I feel towards Ayesha right now. Like, your problems are so minimal. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a second. All right, we're back with, this is kind of my favorite segment because we get to bring you guys in. So we're calling this non-toxic advice, and this is basically inspired by how horrific the advice that we see regularly given out online is on TikTok with like these women influencers giving people advice where I'm just like, I'm sorry, what is this advice? And like I said, I don't think we know everything, but I do think we can give some better advice to people, especially like girls, you know, that are in college, in their early 20s, graduating. We've been through some stuff, so I think we can guide some girls in the right direction. And for these questions, I got them personally from my Instagram. I reached out to my audience. But in the future, please go to sincerelyamerican.com/ask-a-question, where you can submit your name, where you're from, and your question to be featured on the show. Let's get into it. So our first question is coming from Kayla in Dallas, Texas. She says, what is the best way to lose weight in a healthy but quick way?
I would honestly just say intuitive eating. Listen to your body. Like, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. I think diet is I go by the 80-20 rule. Diet is 80% of it, and I do think physical exercise is 20% of it. Keep your body moving. But most of it is what you're putting into your body. You know, food is fuel. So just making sure that you're eating a balanced diet.
I love that. And I love that we can even talk about this because, like, in the girl world, you can't even talk about, like, wanting to lose weight. It's, like, fat phobic. And, like, okay, call us fat phobic.
I'm fat phobic.
I don't care. Like, we want to be skinny. We want to be cute. We want to be feeling and looking our best. We're not promoting anorexia. We're promoting living your best life, which means being skinny and trim. And so my biggest advice, if you're just, like, looking to drop, like, 5 pounds, say, like, you're bloated, you're not feeling great, you have a wedding coming up or some other event that you want to get a little bit leaner for, do intermittent fasting and just skip dinner. So what I do, like, when I'm just trying to, you know, be slimmer and less bloated for something, I do breakfast and a hearty lunch. Like, you can, eat whatever you want. I am not a dieter in the way, like, I love pasta, I love bagels, I love carbs, I also love my treats. I'm sorry, life is better when you're eating that. I don't want to live a life where I'm only eating vegetables. I refuse to live that way. And then skip dinner. And do that for like 2 weeks where you just don't eat dinner at night. And I will tell you, you will drop immediately and you'll feel so much better every morning. Like, I cannot say this enough. Nothing feels better when you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling like bloated and sluggish from like a big dinner. Like, we call it a food hangover. Mm-hmm. You know, when you eat like a big bowl of pasta and then you go to bed and you literally feel like you have like a food hangover the next morning. Like, you feel so gross and puffy. You will feel so energized in the morning if you like skip dinner. And I'm not saying like live the rest of your life that way, but there are benefits to that, and I think it's the best way to shed a few pounds.
Yeah, I think it's all about portion control, like you just said. And honestly, it's actually, there are studies that have shown that it's actually better to not eat past like 6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So you're actually right on the money with that. I want to talk about Giselle Bundchen. If she was here, if she was sitting right here with our mimosas, Giselle would be like, I went to a model casting, and then I smoked a cigarette, and then I got 2 espresso shots, and then I never ate dinner. I had like 1 almond. Like, what did she say?
Yeah, and then Brianna, our editor, we love her. She needs to roll this clip.
Drinking mocha frappuccinos for breakfast with 3 cigarettes, drinking a bottle of wine at night to calm down from all the coffee I was drinking.
Low key. Like, low key goals.
Like, what is it? Silent repost?
Yeah, silent repost.
Silent repost, like, we can't say it, but like, true. Like,
yeah.
I honestly, like, I think about that. I'm like, do I want to give like the healthy advice right now and be like a better
We're
person?
not standing by that advice. What is that thing where it's like...
We don't condone that.
Yeah.
We condemn that.
Yeah. Next question. Hannah from Scottsdale, Arizona. I am in a healthy, amazing relationship with the love of my life, but I just got a job opportunity that would require me to move across the country. What should I do? Oh.
It depends on if the love of your life is your boyfriend or if the love of your life is your husband. Because I do think there are different seasons of life, which I think that you'll probably touch on as well, which we are a prime example of that. Jayme actually, and I won't speak directly for you, I'll let you kind of go off of what I'm saying, but Jayme met her husband because she put herself first, she moved to DC, she took a leap of faith, and she met her husband on the campaign trail when she was working for President Trump. And then our friendship actually started in the White House. So she went from the campaign to the White House. But that's how she met her husband. I met my husband when I first started my business, Titan Media Strategies, and he so happened to work for the company that was one of my first clients that I signed on to that company. So a lot of serendipitous things can happen when you decide to put yourself first and you're not seeking for anything. So I do think that, if it's your boyfriend, you don't have that level of a commitment like you do with your husband where you would have to make sacrifices.
The vibe that I'm getting, because she said love of my life and not husband, is that this is a boyfriend. They're not engaged yet. I'm just going to say that is the situation to give advice off of that. And here's what I will say. As someone who's married now with children, an amazing season of life, but there's also a season of life that came before that, which is if you are not married to someone, you do not owe them to put them first in that way. Like, I'm not saying be a bad girlfriend, I'm not saying be selfish, but if you have an amazing opportunity and you guys aren't engaged and you're not, you haven't made that commitment to each other, then that is the season of life to make that decision, because there's a very short season of life that you can make those decisions where you are putting yourself first, because when you become married, you cannot put yourself first anymore. You can't just get up and move across the country. And especially when you have children, you are not putting yourself first in any way. So I think if you are in your early 20s and you're trying to start your career and have an exciting life and you don't have that level of commitment yet, then I think 100% you need to go do what's best for you. And if this boyfriend loves you and you guys are meant to be, you will be meant to be. And you can make things work with distance for a little while, or in the future, like I said, come back together and figure out how to, if he really wants you to stay, he maybe should also propose. I will say that too.
Yeah, I would honestly just say pray for clarity. God will never tear apart a relationship that he has brought together. So I would just pray on it a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And this is such an exciting time of your life. Like, both of us moved across the country in our early 20s to, find a job. And like I said, we met our husbands there. And I just think it's an exciting time in your life. And you have the rest of your life to settle down. And we totally are proponents of that. I got married at 23, so I'm not in any way a proponent of pushing back marriage. But there is this short season of life. And take full advantage and enjoy. It's so fun and it's an exciting time. Okay, next question from Madison in Boston, Massachusetts. I just graduated college and I'm starting my first corporate job in 2 months. I am trying to shop for the office. What are some pieces you recommend I get?
If Madison asked us this like 5 years ago, I would personally feel sorry for her, because if you look back to our White House photos, Jayme and I were wearing these polka dotted tights with these pink dresses, and we thought we were like the cat's meow walking around the White
hottest
House.
thing that ever happened.
And like, God, like I look back, I'm like, I should not be giving fashion advice whatsoever. But
I think both of our styles have come a long way since
they've
then.
evolved. Yeah, I would say honestly, just stick to the basics when you're first, getting your corporate closet per se. I would just say stick with whites, grays, navies, blacks, things that can be interchangeable, super easy. Also, invest in a good pair of loafers or flats. That way you can, when you're walking home from work, you can just quickly change into those and put those into your bag. And I'm sure you're going to elaborate on like some staple pieces and some investment pieces that you could get.
Yeah, so I think I'm a big proponent of you don't have to go expensive for every single thing. I spend my money on shoes because I think shoes show their price very easily, and shoes you can rewear all the time. Example, these shoes I wear like 24/7. I literally love these shoes, these Prada shoes. So, and Camryn's little red bottom. So shoes you can rewear over and over again. Clothes, like it's harder to kind of pull off, like re-wearing them over and over again. So like example, a Zara blazer like does the total trick. Like honestly, they have the best blazers there. I love the brand Mango. They have really affordable stuff that is super cute. I would say just get trousers, blouses. I like what you said about staying to a color scheme because then you can mix and match more things. And like honestly, Aritzia has really good stuff too, even though I know they're like kind of low-key expensive now, which is annoying. And then the last thing I'll say is like get some like great dresses and do like consignment. I know the RealReal has some issues when it comes to like buying luxury purses, so I wouldn't do it there. But they have some like great brands that, are usually like Retrofret or Alice and Olivia or, Sandro, Maj, like those brands that usually are like $500 for a dress, and instead you can get them more for like $100 or $200. And so anyway, that's my biggest piece of advice. And I also like what you said with loafers. You don't need to always be wearing heels. I feel like heels are so overdone in this day and age. I kind of like something lower.
You wear the platform bra.
Yeah,
heels.
as I'm wearing those. I do like a high heel here and there. Camryn and I definitely have fallen victim to that.
Yeah, you can always build off of the basics that you already have in your closet. Mm-hmm. So just get the basics first. You can wear them interchangeably and then go from there.
And get a good work tote too. That I would put money into. Like that would be like a Christmas present, a birthday present, Valentine's Day, anniversary. I would put money into a work purse.
Yeah, some durable leather. I agree.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a second. Okay, now it's time to have a little fun, even though we've already been having so much fun. But we're going to do our hot or not section. So the rules of this game are we categorize something hot or not based off if we would do it or it works for us. So even if you're like, oh, that might work for somebody else, but you wouldn't personally do it, you would still rate it not. Okay, so the first one I wanted to do is, and this is a topic I think that we need to address like later on in another podcast because it's something I'm so passionate about and we just don't have the time to like fully articulate it. But there is this new thing that I am hearing, and maybe because I'm a Californian, but it's called being California sober, where essentially you don't drink anymore, but you only like smoke weed. And so that is like a new thing. Hot or not, Cam?
Not. I view this from like an objective truth and from a reality standpoint. Like if you're going to any AA meeting, like sober means if you're smoking, if you're drinking, if you're hanging around with people who are have not ill will, what is it, bad intentions, or get you to a place where you're using. And so I don't really like, you're not sober if you're smoking. That's just me. Also, our greatest cities in America have gone so downhill because all you smell is weed on the street. And for somebody like Jayme who has a daughter and wants to carry her around, it's horrible. It's horrible to smell.
Do not even get me started. Like literally, I am such a Karen when it comes to weed. Like I yelled at someone the other day for like smoking a blunt next to my daughter. I'm like, hello, I have a 2-year-old. If you want to go be a loser and smoke weed, please go into your basement and order your pizza. I will say, this is my hottest take. I'm sorry. Weed is way worse than drinking alcohol. Like in my opinion, alcohol, I know people have issues. I'm not promoting alcoholism, but like alcohol is a social drink that you go out and have fun with at least. So there's like social.
Jesus turned water into wine.
Yes. And as a Catholic, I stand by that. But alcohol is a fun drink that that you go out and you have fun with your friends. Weed, when I think of someone smoking weed, I think of being a loser in your basement, ripping a bomb, and ordering a whole thing of pizza and like being disgusting. Like, I'm sorry, that is my hottest take of the day, but I hate when people are like, oh, well, weed is better than alcohol. No, it is not. And like I said, I want to touch on this in a way bigger extent in a future podcast because I could go on for days about this. I could run an entire campaign about being anti-weed, but it has mental effects in your brain that alcohol does not. And this country was built off of people drinking whiskey and smoking a cigarette. It was not built off of a bunch of weed smokers.
And that is the American dream.
Yeah. Okay, next
one. Ripping a cig and drinking some whiskey. Or some Kentucky bourbon, baby. All right, next one.
Okay, a little less controversial. Stacking jewelry.
Hot. I love stacking jewelry. I don't have any stacks on right now. I feel like you have stacks on and I don't, or actually maybe my necklaces. I love stacking jewelry. Honestly, like, I think it's just so cute. Some girls can actually pull it off way more than I can, but I love seeing the girls with like all the gold jewelry on, maybe like even like a few Cartier bracelets or a few like Van Cleef bracelets stacked. I don't know, I just think it's just so cute. It's so girly and feminine way to show their personality.
I love my mother. She's like a style icon and she's a jewelry stacking queen, but I am just not an accessories girl. And my co-founder, Isabel, of the Conservateur, she's an accessories girl. Like, she just accessorizes, like, in a way. If you want accessory inspiration, look at her page. Like, she's fantastic with it. I'm just not personally. I'm kind of like a Carolyn Bessette Kennedy who never wore jewelry. I'm not to that extent, but I do kind of like just like a simpler look nowadays. I just find it easy. It goes with my vibe more. I guess like the one exception would be like I have a bunch of ear piercings, which I got when I was like 18, but yeah. I guess that would be considered stacking jewelry. But other than that, I like more of a simple look. Okay, next one is leopard print.
Not. Only because I think it looks great on other people. Like you would look fantastic. You have like the dark complexion, the long dark hair, with like the shadow. I just feel like it would be a vibe on you. For me, it's too much. Like, I know my features. The blonde hair is already an accessory within itself and it's already a lot. So to put a print or a pattern on with it, for me personally, too much. So I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say hot. I love a good leopard look, especially for fall. Like, I love, like, a leopard cardigan or, like, a leopard pair of shoes. I have a really cute leopard dress. But I agree. It's kind of, like, it can be cheesy really easily, so you have to style it in the correct way. But I'm going to go hot. Okay, Utah curls.
Not.
You hate those?
I hate Utah curls because I am more of like a 90s VS runway model. I'm thinking like Kate Moss, I'm thinking Naomi, Giselle, where they either have like the waves or they have that like 90s bombshell blowout with like the curls and like face framing layers. That's personally my vibe. I'm going to go no on Utah curls.
I'm going to go hot because I literally obsessed with that show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, literally obsessed with that show. I love like I'm actually not a reality TV person. That's like the only one I really like. And their hair is such goals on that show. I'm not good at doing hair. I do my best, but I do love their little Utah curls, so I'm going to go hot. Okay, last one, Stanley cups.
Hot. I love Stanley cups. I don't know if that's cheesy or not, but if I go on a walk or like me and my husband are going on a walk, I'll always put like a mimosa or like some Whispering Angel in that Stanley and we'll just be trotting. But like, I think it's just the fact, I don't even know if it's the Stanley or if it's because I like holding something. Either way, it fits in your car cup holder really nicely. It carries so much water throughout like the entire day. Honestly, it lasts me 2 days at this point. I'm going to go hot.
I'm going not. Okay, one, I have a daughter and I just hate carrying stuff. And two, I am so basic. I know I'm a basic bitch in so many ways, but that is too basic for me. I can't do the Stanley Cup. Like, I just think it's like too like sorority girl with the keychain and like they're shoving it into their car thing. Like, I'm like, that is so not me. I will buy my water like somewhere else or just becomes dehydrated at this point. I will not carry that tub of a Stanley Cup around. I just refuse. I hate them.
You can take the girl out of Kentucky, but you can't take the Kentucky out of the girl. And I will say that is like my one thing is that I will hold a Stanley Cup. Like that is my
Southern
vibe.
Sorority girl
that
thing.
is my vibe.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Totally. Okay, for the last segment of the show, I love this because it was a TikTok trend like a few months ago, propaganda that you're falling for or you're not, and I just think it's really funny. And it's just a way to like kind of give some like hot takes as well. So we're gonna do every show, we're gonna end it with propaganda that we are not falling for and propaganda that we are falling for, and we're gonna have separate takes. So Camryn, what is the propaganda that you're not falling for?
This is a really hot take. I feel like I'm going to piss a lot of people off for it, but it's extravagant bachelorettes. I think they're so tacky. I hate it. I think it gets away from like the main goal of it being about you and your partner. It's not traditional, completely abandons traditional values. Like I remember when my mom was getting married, like her and her girlfriends, I think she just like went over to her girlfriend's house, or like maybe even like I'll see like a weekend getaway sometimes where like they're making the charcuterie board, they're ordering in pizza, and it's just like a very intimate and sweet celebration with like your closest friends, and like having these insane expectations of your friends to spend like thousands upon thousands of dollars when probably all of your friends are in different seasons of life, like during their wedding, like financially, emotionally, physically, like what, like the time commitment of that as well. To me, I hate it. That's going to be propaganda that I'm not falling for.
Propaganda that I'm not falling for, and I'm going to sound like a little Scrooge when I say this, but adults celebrating their birthdays over the top. Okay, I get it if you're turning 21, 30, 50, of course, there's some big birthdays. I'm not saying you can never celebrate your birthday. I'm not saying you can't do like a nice dinner. But people that put like an overemphasis and pressure, and you know, you just brought bachelorettes, for example. Now that we're in our mid-20s, we are in the place where like people are getting married all the time. There's bachelorettes, baby showers, there's a million events. And I'm like, I'm a mom. You know, I just, like, do I need to, like, there's only a certain amount of bandwidth I have to spend time away from my child, and it's like, do I need to do, like, a massive birthday blowout for you for turning 28? Like, I'm like, it's just, like, it's like, okay, grow up. You're 28 years old, and, like, I also don't believe in getting, like, birthday gifts from one another. Like, we're living through inflation. We need to save our money for houses and stuff, and people are, like, I feel like I hate when people just put an overemphasis. It just feels very immature and childish to me. And so I'm not trying to sound like a Scrooge, but I will say happy birthday to you. And I'm the person that's always doing the birthday posts with the Instagram stories. I will always do that and make you feel special. But the over-the-top celebrations for turning 27, I just can't.
Yeah, I love birthdays. So Jayme and I have like as close as we are, we actually like do have different takes on things. I love birthdays and I love celebrating my friends. But you're right. Like if it's like something off from like 21 or 30 or 50, it's like, what's the point? Like
I hate my birthday. Know. I literally, you don't even know it's my birthday. I hate getting older. You don't even know.
Being reminded.
I will say though, the best, I will say, I made an exception. Camryn had, what was it, what birthday was
21st.
it? 21st. Her 21st birthday, we all went to Miami, and it was probably the best trip of our lives. So if we're doing that, I'm down for that. I will admit that.
Somebody was asking, like, what's the best date you've ever been on, Camryn? And I was like, my 21st birthday, but it wasn't even with a guy. It's like, all of my friends in the same place. Yeah, I was like, I just loved it because all my friends were there, and we were in like such a fun place, and like I don't know, I cherish those memories so much. Yeah. We had the best, and it wasn't like the stereotypical like Miami settings that we were going to. We actually like did our own thing. We were out in the water on like one of those water pads for a bit, and I don't know, went to some cool restaurants. So anyway,
that was the best trip. I'll make an exception for that. And it was your 21st. Okay, Cam, what is the propaganda that you are falling for?
A $7 latte every single morning. And I know that sounds so basic, but it's a part of my morning routine. I'm very, I don't want to say like ritualistic, but I do think like the morning sets the tone for how you're going to be like throughout the day, like the mood. Like if I spill coffee on my shirt, like I'm going to be pissed. Like I feel like if you want like a good morning, it's like a great shower, like making sure that you're well put together, being caffeinated, having a $7 coffee, or investing in like a really nice espresso machine too.
I love that. I'm also guilty of that. Mine's kind of a similar vein, a weekly spray tan. For those of you that don't know, I am as pale as a shirt, but you would never know because I always have a spray tan on. I have dark hair, and so like I feel like I just get washed out so easily. I wish I could be like a Bella Hadid who just like owns her paleness in such a beautiful way. That is not me. I will be in the spray tan booth like every single week, and I refuse, this is also where we're different, I refuse to get in a tanning booth, and I also refuse to naturally tan because not that I think a spray tan is like just as cancerous in a different way. Like literally one time I was like in the spray tan Mystic booth and I like sneezed and I'm like, I definitely just got cancer from that. Like I like inhaled like a ton of chemicals. I was like, that was not the best, but at least it like preserves my skin and wrinkling. Like I just don't want wrinkles from like being out in the sun. So like I'm that person. Like there was that Anne Hathaway photo where like she was on vacation and she was like just completely covered up. I'm like, that is me on vacation. I am under the umbrella in my bikini. Like I am not getting any natural sun or whatever. So anyway, I'm victim to a spray tan every single week. And yes, every single week I have to scrub that off, which is hell on earth.
I feel like both of those, though, are like a little self-investment where it just makes you feel better about yourself at the end of the day. Like, you know, we're not like advocating for you to go to like to the tanning booth like every single day or whatever, and not advocating for you to be like fiscally irresponsible getting like a $7 coffee every morning. But I do think like those tiny investments in yourself like make a huge difference.
I completely agree. Well, anyway, that is all for today, but we're so excited for you guys to join us. We're going to be coming out every single Wednesday morning in your feed, whether you like it or not. And thank you for listening, and thank you for tuning in and supporting us through this journey. And I just think we have so many fun things in store, and we can't wait for the next year ahead.
Make sure to tune in every single Wednesday morning. We want to see you there. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sincerely American. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we want to connect with you guys more. We'll see you every Wednesday.